My manager thought I was just a worthless intern until the board meeting revealed I was the CEO. I had just been hired as the new CEO, but the board wanted me to start officially in 3 months. I decided to go undercover first by getting hired as a regular intern. I wanted to see how people really treated each other when they thought no one important was watching. My first day, I walked into the office wearing my cheapest suit and carrying a beat-up messenger bag. Department Manager Williams took one look at me and figured I was just another desperate intern. "Hope you're ready to learn what real work looks like," he said without shaking my hand. He dumped filing on my desk and walked away. That became the pattern. Williams started treating me like his personal servant from day one. Every morning, he'd snap his fingers and point at his empty mug, wanting coffee with 2 sugars and 1 cream. When I asked about client meetings, he laughed and brushed me off. "Interns fetch coffee, not make decisions," he'd tell me while other employees watched. I could feel my face getting hot, but kept my mouth shut. The coffee ritual became his daily power play. When I brought his coffee back, he'd take a sip and make a face like I'd poisoned him. "Too much sugar," he'd say, even though I'd made it exactly how he asked. "Do it again." Each time I returned with a fresh cup, he'd find something wrong with it, enjoying the spectacle of sending me back and forth. Williams saw that I wouldn't push back, and that's when he got bolder about embarrassing me publicly. During team meetings, he'd wait until the room was quiet before attacking how I looked. "Did you fish that suit out of a donation bin?" he'd say while everyone stared at me. He'd point out my cheap tie and discount shoes while the room laughed. "Maybe when you get a real job, you can afford clothes that fit." Once he realized the room would laugh along, he started getting creative with his insults. "I bet that suit has seen more job interviews than actual jobs," he'd say during our weekly meetings. "Are those shoes from the kids section?" The room would crack up while I sat there with my jaw tight. Williams would lean back with this satisfied look, like a cat playing with a mouse. But the appearance jokes were just the beginning. Williams saw how easily he could make me the office joke and decided to target my intelligence and work next. When I turned in detailed reports about company problems, he'd wave them off like garbage in front of others. "This is cute, but you clearly don't understand how real business works," he'd say, while telling me to stick to making copies. He'd make comments about my education and math skills publicly, always with an audience. What made it worse was that he started presenting my exact ideas to executives as his own work. He'd stand there confidently explaining concepts I'd researched and written about, taking all the credit while I filed papers in the corner. I watched him take my reports and literally cross out my name, writing his own in front of me. "Thanks for the rough draft," he'd say with a smirk. "I'll clean it up." As time went on, Williams was getting drunk on power and started attacking my personal life with even more cruelty. He'd whisper loud enough for me to hear that I probably couldn't even afford lunch. During lunch meetings, he'd make sure I wasn't included and would tell me to grab something from the vending machine instead. Then he'd wonder out loud, what kind of girl would date someone like me? The comments about my family hit different than the work stuff. He was attacking who I was as a person, not just my job performance. I could feel my chest getting tight every time he brought up my personal life, but I forced myself to stay calm. Williams noticed my reactions and started pushing harder. "Did I hit a nerve? Are mommy and daddy disappointed in their little boy?" he'd say, watching for cracks in my composure. The quarterly board meeting started like usual. I sat in my corner spot while executives came in looking important. That's when the head of legal walked in and saw me. "What are you doing sitting over there?" she asked, looking confused. "Shouldn't you be at the head of the table?" Williams looked puzzled until she continued. "Everyone, this is our CEO. He's been working undercover to check out company culture." Williams's face went completely white. He looked like he was going to be sick. Williams's hands started shaking, and he couldn't form words. "I had no idea," he stammered, his voice cracking. "Please, I'm so sorry. I was just trying to teach you the ropes." His face went red and sweaty. "Please don't fire me. I have a mortgage, kids in college. I've been here for 12 years. He was practically begging. "I'll do anything. I'll work for free. Your resignation letter can be on my desk tomorrow morning," I said calmly. The supply chain fixes he'd made fun of saved us $12 million. Williams couldn't find work anywhere after word got out.